All right, so the next step in making the rattle is after a few days under plastic, the two halves have become leather hard. So for example, I can hold it and I can bend it slightly and it won't crack, but it's holding its shape. It's not as soft as if it were when I first made it. And what I can do now is I can attach the two halves. All right? And before I do that, I'm going to take remember the bone dry rattle pieces, and I'm just going to drop them right on it. All right? If I did this when they were wet, they will stick and you will not get a good sound. So remember, these have to be made the very first thing ahead of time, set aside, and let dry. But once they are, now I can go ahead and start attaching. All right, and so to do that, I need a tool. I had to walk away and get the tool. I need a tool first in your toolkit, the needle tool. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to scratch up the lips of the pot. Anytime one piece of clay is attached to another piece of clay, you have to score and add slit. This part is called scoring, and I'm roughing up the surface. I'm actually making more surface area than what I had when it was flat. And I'm doing that on both halves. Now you'll notice too, down here is a pattern from a stamp that I had made when it was soft, not now when it's leather hard. When it's leather hard, your best option for decoration is carving or even adding. All right, so I've got the two halves all scored. Now I'm going to add slit. All right, and this is just a mixture of clay and water. You can make it by adding little bits of clay. Again, a lot like these before they dry. And covering it with water overnight, and then in the morning you can just mix them up. But this is what you do. You just put the slip on one side. You don't need to do it on both. You don't need a lot either. And then you just put it on and press it together. You want a good connection. Give it a little press, a little wiggle, whatever. Make sure it's on there. And now, you're going to score across the connection. I'm going to make X's. So I'm just going to score in one direction here, and then score in the other direction all the way around again. And so this is blending the two pieces of clay together. This really ensures a good, strong connection. And now I'm going to take another little bit of clay and I'm going to roll out a coil. And so I can take this coil now and put it right on the area that I have just scored. And press it in. And then smooth it down. All right, and this is going to make a really good, strong connection. All right, now a couple things here. So if I want to make this a little bit smoother than it is, and it's getting a little bit dry, I can take a little cup of water, dip my finger in that, and use that to smooth stuff out. I don't want to use too much water because too much water will cause the clay to get really muddy and lose its strength. Just a little bit is fine. And the other thing is, so I've got texture on the bottom here that I used, or I made when it was soft. But I can also put some texture on it now. And if I go ahead and try and press now, it'll get something, but it's not as good an impression as if the clay were a little bit soft. But it may be a little easier to control now that the clay's set up a bit. So it's up to you, to experiment with this and find the best time to put texture in. But you could also carve, and I'm actually looking for a tool that you may have in your toolkit. So you probably have, this is called a loop tool or a ribbon tool for the for the quiz. So this will make, carved lines that you can spend some time decorating with. Horizontal, vertical, they can cross, whatever. Or you can use the loop end and carve out a texture or a pattern like that. Or you can combine stamps and carving to get something interesting. I'm going to use the other end just for variety. All right, so the assignment here at its most basic is going to be 2 pinch pots with some form of decoration or texture with the rattle parts inside and put together. Now, if I just fired this like this, it would explode because I've trapped a whole bunch of air in there. And I do have to make an area for this air to escape. So if I just do this, that's perfectly fine. That's enough of a hole to let the air escape. Now I can integrate that into the design, and all I need is one, and I'm fine. I also want to say too that you can add stuff on here. So rather than just stamp or carve, if I wanted to, let's say I want to add, shapes on there. So let's make a shape. And they can't be thicker than 1/2 inch. I will have to slip and score both pieces to be attached. And that'll stay on, right? I can clean that up however I want. If I just did this and left it like that, it may stay on for now, but eventually as this dries, or certainly in the kiln when it's fired, that's going to dry and fall off. Whereas that's on there pretty good. All right. So the assignment is going to be, again, a rattle from 2 pinch pots that are stuck together lip to lip. Don't forget you have to make the rattle parts, the inside first. Let them get bone dry so they don't stick together. And then when you make your 2 halves, you are going to slip and score the lips together. And before you're done, poke a hole. One final thing, and I forgot to mention this, and this is really important, is on the bottom, you absolutely have to mark your initials and your period number. All right? Without this, I can't grade you. And I need both of them, initials and period number, and I need them to be legible. Because if I can't read it, I can't give you a grade. And you get points off. So initials and period number. And you can kind of hear the rattles going around in there. It certainly changes the sound as this gets drier and as it gets fired. All right, so I don't know what this is, but that's the assignment.